Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. I've got a tale of two discrimination cases, and this is in the state of Indiana. And I want to bring you some words of encouragement. If you are looking for a job, or if you know someone who is looking for a job, or you're looking at all of these job applications or job listings, and you're seeing on the application that you have to show your pincushion status. So I want to help you with that by way of sharing a personal story of a healthy American and what she has done as she's been looking for a job without having to serve the evildoers. So let's take a look at that in just a moment. And I want to give you some words of encouragement because I know that this is something that likely people are going to be faced with again and again and again. Yes, cooties is still with us in terms of the oppression and the tyranny, and I am here to fight it every step of the way. Before we do this, let me thank the sponsor of our show. This is how I'm able to bring you these videos free of charge. And if you are interested in learning about whether or not precious metals are good for you, then you can call my friends over at noblegoldinvestments.com, 877-646-5347. There's no pressure. You'll speak to somebody in the United States and find out what you can do to secure your future with a gold IRA. And if you're looking at the banks, you would think that there's nothing wrong. But when you look under the hood, so to speak, it's a mess. It seems like everyone is getting itchy feet, and commercial property, car loans, credit cards are at all-time highs. And why chance that for basically a 3% return? Why not get Noble Gold Investments on your side? So even if the banks crash again, you will be okay. Noble Gold Investments, they'll talk to you about keeping your investments safe with precious metals. Their experts are waiting right now, and you can also get a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin if you qualify. So act now before it's too late. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. It's the only gold company that I trust. I will have a link for you in the description box below, along with the disclaimer that there's always a risk of investment. There's no guarantee of any kind, of course, but find out from the experts at noblegoldinvestments.com. Friends, let's talk first about a success story from a healthy American in Indiana. And she has been trying to get a job interview, and she is being discriminated against at every turn. There are two stories that I want to share with you. So let me cue this up for you. All right. The first letter I have is actually an email, and this was just a couple of weeks ago. And she said, "Dear Peggy and Pastor David, I wanted to let you know what a blessing you are to me." She says, "I cannot thank Pastor David enough that's my husband, for the time he took most recently to send a message to the Indiana, and they've got their, Human Rights Commission and also the EEOC regarding his interview with an Indiana civil rights investigator on one of my employment religious discrimination cases." Let me give you a little backstory. She has been applying for jobs, and she's getting discriminated against, not even being able to have an interview unless she proves that she's a human pincushion, and this is illegal. So of course, I'm not giving any legal advice, but I do provide legal education, and my husband provides spiritual counseling, and I provide encouragement coaching for those who are standing up for their rights and they want to learn about the laws that protect their rights. And so she went ahead and filed a complaint with the Indiana Human Rights Commission and Civil Rights Commission, actually, and they took on the investigation as they should. So this is what this first email is related to. She also says that her husband and I signed up as VIP members with our assistance to help save his job at, believe it or not, a pharma company that was demanding that every employee become a human pincushion. And she lost her job previously to standing up for her rights and not becoming a human pincushion with her employer. And she works in the healthcare field. I'm just kind of summarizing and paraphrasing her email here. And she says that no matter who she speaks to, they seem to find reasons not to accept her as a candidate because she wants to remain pure. She said that she continues to hold fast to her faith and her beliefs, and that my excellent teachings and sharing of knowledge have given them the strength to stand up for their religious rights under the law. So then she writes, good news, I was able to settle one of my religious discrimination suits yesterday, and while the judgment was smaller than I hoped for, this is her writing, she says, I know that I would not have been able to weather the storm on this one without the blessing of your support. Once I receive my settlement, I would like to make a donation to support the great work that you are doing to bring awareness and support to the attack on Christians. And this attack is occurring in America, and she's absolutely right. And that is why I'm standing so strong in this fight, because the powers that shouldn't be want to remove our right to express our religious beliefs in public. And that is something that is protected by the Constitution. And so she's fighting it, I'm fighting it, and so many of you are fighting it as well. She said, I'm so happy to have your support, and we are looking forward to better days ahead. So I'm just paraphrasing a little bit. And that was her first success in filing with the state civil rights agency and the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And the fact is, it is illegal for any employer to discriminate against you, even in the interview process. It is illegal for an employer to not hire you because of your religious beliefs or because of your age, your gender, your race, your ethnic background, and under another set of laws, because of any medical disability that you may have. So you could even construe not being a human pincushion as being a certain medical status. That would be something that I would probably argue, and that would be interesting to see how that plays out down the road. But not hiring you because of your religious beliefs is illegal. Sadly, there are so many ignorant, ignoramuses out there. And I want to show you one right here that a healthy American sent to me. And this is right here in California. And I want to thank my healthy American who goes by the name of Mr. Malibu. And here he's showing me this ad at Malibu Beach Inn. And it says, housekeeping attendant must be a human pincushion and, full time. And I actually went to this Malibu Beach Inn that's advertising it, and I could not find anything on this website related to their non-discrimination policy. But the fact is, it is illegal to not hire someone. Well, certainly if you have a religious belief against, polluting your body or participating in activities that God has directed you not to. So I find this stunning that they actually put this in the advertisement. That would be like saying housekeeping attendant must be white, or must be black, or must be a woman, or must be a man, or cannot be over the age of 30, or cannot have an accent. There's nothing at all different in that. So I don't have the time to chase down every single employer that is violating the law, but if you find yourself up against someone, here is my strategy. And then I'm going to share with you another case that she is still fighting, and she's in the thick of it. And sadly, there are so many ignoramuses out there, or maybe they just are intentionally trying to deceive her. And I will give a couple of pointers on that as well. So if you are applying for a job and you have a right to your religious beliefs, you would have a right to ask for a day off for worship, for example. Or let's say you were applying for a job at a pharmacy. I don't know why you would do that, but let's just say that you do. And you have a religious conviction that you are not allowed to dispense birth control pills. You have a right to go to your supervisor and say, if somebody is picking up the bill, I cannot ring them up. I cannot take money. I cannot participate in that. And I need an accommodation. They are required by law. This is an actual case, by the way. And they are required by law. Your employer is required by law to accommodate you because of your religious beliefs. They would have to bring someone else onto the cash register or do something so that you would not participate in that activity if you individually and, through God's direction, have a religious belief against doing that activity. Your employer cannot ask you if you've ever taken birth control pills. They cannot ask you if you've ever had an abortion. They cannot ask you about anything other than, if this is a conflict, then I will take care of it. Now, over the last several years, I've seen many employers violate the law by asking egregious, outrageous, excessive, intrusive questions, which there is no legal standing for them to do. It would be illegal for that employer to ask if that woman ever had an abortion or man ever participated in that, or if they took birth control pills or had a vasectomy or anything. All of that is illegal. It has no bearing on their religious beliefs. But wait until I bring you, oh my gosh, a broadcast coming up of the absolutely insane questions and standing that healthy Americans are still facing. There's a case in San Francisco. There is another one. In fact, I don't want to be too particular with the details because these agencies are listening to my videos and they're actually trying to outsmart the law by using their slimy tactics based on what I'm teaching, which is why I have done these classes privately, because I don't want this information to get into the hands of these slimy government agencies and other attorneys that are using slimy tactics to try to discriminate against you. I kid you not. There was a law firm that held a seminar called How to Legally Deny a Religious Exemption for the cooties. That would be like saying how to legally sexually harass an employee. There's no difference. And I've done videos explaining exactly why. So if you are going for a job interview and they are asking you about that, you ask them for their authority to ask for your personal, private medical status. There is no legal authority for that. And if they pull out the old saw about you're going to be a threat to someone else, well, they have to prove that as well. But you want to be on a good standing. So I would say, does this constitute a job offer? Are you offering me a job? Because once you offer me a job, then I will offer you my medical status. And I also would like to know, are you in compliance with Title VII non-discrimination laws? And then see what they have to say. So you want to make sure that you are not giving them information in the beginning where they can deny you even an interview. So let me tell you about this other scenario with our healthy American and what happened with her as she has been fighting. And here is an update. So she says, Peggy, I thought you would find my story interesting and it could help you as you speak to others who may be facing similar challenges. She said, I filed my second case last September with my state civil rights commission. This is in the state of Indiana, against a company that refused to consider me for a job unless I was a human pincushion. She says, I asked the hiring company for their accommodation process. Listen to this. She says, they told me they do not have a process. Okay, that right there is illegal. She said, I actually have this on audio tape, as well as emails from them stating this. The State Civil Rights Commission failed to even have an investigator call me to get details on this case so that they could make a determination. I mean, this is absolutely stunning, friends. She says, instead, they just ruled that there was no discrimination. How do you like them apples? That is literally no due process. She said, when I called them to ask how they made this determination, they said that the hiring company told them that they did have an accommodation process. So the state civil rights departments do not actually have to investigate discrimination anymore. This is the healthy American writing to me, or even evaluate evidence. That would be a big NO. They are just violating the law as well. Basically, they can just call the discriminating employer and believe everything that the employer tells them. And then she continues to write, keep in mind that I sent this state civil rights agency all of my evidence. I doubt they even evaluated this evidence. Just as an aside, my state civil rights in California went nowhere as well. All right. I put in my complaint against the city who was threatening. I mean, it's so bizarre. They were threatening to send the police, actually the sheriff, to arrest me for trespassing if I showed up at a community pool that I paid my dues for, breathing oxygen outside. Even in the state of California, they did not have any measures against breathing oxygen outside. It was only inside a building. And even though I sent everything to the Civil Rights Agency, they didn't, how does the saying go? They did diddly squat. That's exactly what they did. And, you know, in California, what was I even thinking? So she says that she filed a complaint against the State Civil Rights Commission. I think that's brilliant, with the state attorney general and the EEOC, which is the Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. She said that she did this in December. She said, this week I contacted them and I learned that they mysteriously lost case evidence and information that I sent them. So she had to send the paperwork all over again. She writes, if they fail to correct the decision by the State Civil Rights Commission, my attorney says we will file a lawsuit against the discriminating company. Now, kudos to this healthy American who has the gumption, who has the conviction, and who has the financial wherewithal to take on these cases, because it is very pricey. And I'm really grateful that she's doing this, because this can pave the way for you and for me and for others that are facing discrimination at the state level at the hands of the government. So she writes, I'm not sure if anyone else speaking with you is facing these issues with their own government agencies in their states. She said, I have little faith in the government and the government agency evildoers anymore. She said, my attorney says these organizations have become worthless and they are corrupt, bureaucratic entities, and I second that. She writes, it's very sad as our tax dollars fund the salaries of these corrupt civil servants. She said, yesterday, a friend of mine contacted me and told me that she was contacted at the hiring company that I filed my charges against. She writes, they asked her if she knew me and what I was saying about them. She thought it was odd. And thankfully, she called to let me know. So my healthy American is writing, so this company is waging an all-out war on my reputation because I'm standing up to them. They are a Blackstone company, she writes, so I am not surprised. We are under attack from the most evil corporations and individuals. She says, it shocks me that there seems to be no end to the evil that our own citizens are willing to perpetrate upon their fellow citizens for money. She writes, I often wonder, are these people even human anymore? I got to hand it to her. She's really reading between the lies. And she says, I refuse to let these corrupt government organizations that are violating my religious rights go unchallenged and unpunished for their deeds. She writes, I feel if we do not fight back, then we are certain to lose our country. I wanted to share my story with you, Peggy, because I'm still in the battle. If this next case goes to court, it could be a legal precedent-setting case for people seeking employment today who are being denied the opportunity to even have an interview to be considered for employment without having become a human pincushion. She said, anyone with a brain should be asking themselves, why are these people so intent on getting these products into our arms? She said, I believe the truth is just too much horror for people to digest, so they prefer not to know. Education is the only way our population can be saved. And I pray every day that God brings us all more discernment, courage, and strength to the evil surrounding us. God bless. Isn't that an awesome email? She is in the fight, her first case settled. Now, I will say that having the case be settled is an acknowledgement on the part of the employer that they did wrong and they had to pay financially. So there was a little sting in their pocketbook. Also, I would fight for something else, that employer give me a personal apology and that it be stated on their website that they will no longer discriminate on religious grounds and that they will follow the Title VII laws. I would even go so far as to want to have a video statement by the person that perpetrated that harm against me with my religious rights. That's what I would want. And the other thing is I would fight that they would have to go through religious exemption training, ideally by yours truly. I don't know if a court can impose that, but that's what I would like to see happen. So this Healthy American did go kind of through phase one, and that employer did settle. Now, I will say that I would prefer to see these cases go to court. And as my very astute and persevering Healthy American wrote in this email, having the case be settled in court sets a precedent. When there is a settlement outside of court, it kind of gets brushed away, which is why I would like to see that those companies be brought to task with having to apologize, having to put a statement on their website, having to go through training, in addition to these financial settlements that they are doing. I would love to see this go to court so that it does set a precedent. And I am grateful that I could be of assistance in providing legal education. I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice, but it's common sense information that anybody can find if they're willing to do the work. And these laws sometimes are buried and they're not always easily found, which is why I've dedicated basically every waking hour of the last several years doing this research, running the programs, helping people understand their rights and helping them find that courage to stand up for their convictions. So I'll be following this case very carefully and bringing you more information about it. And it is my hope and prayer that victory will be ours. And I know that it is, because the truth is on our side and God is on our side as well. Friends, you can hear that my voice is a little rough. I did want to bring you another video, which I will leave for tomorrow, which is about these very strange connections of the event, I'll just put it that way, that happened in Texas, and then what happened at the Super Bowl on the same day. Many people are doing videos about, is the Super Bowl rigged or not? And I want to kind of take a different approach to that. And I will connect the clots, as I like to say, in an upcoming video for you tomorrow. Lots to cover, always over at my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. Big shout out for all of you healthy Americans being a part of this very sophisticated, supportive, and sometimes snarky community. And if you have not subscribed yet, what in the non-spinning world, please hit that subscribe button and make sure that you join me here every day at 4 p.m. Pacific, where we take sometimes a snarky view, sometimes a lighthearted view, but always a view at looking at exposing the evildoers and standing up for what is right. So grateful to have you on board. See you soon, everybody.